On this week's episode of Three Dad Bods.
As soon as she saw the Cracker Jack box, she started to cry. And then I got on my knees and I said, "Hey, baby, I'm 100% here, thick or thin. I'm not leaving you. Here's your ring." And she started bawling, and it was good.
People ask you the story of how you ask. Don't give the first story, please. Give
don't
the
tell that
second
part.
story.
Sarcastic, witty, and not afraid to mix it up. Pop open a cold one and welcome to Three Dad Bods.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Three Dad Bods with Brent, Karl, and Shawn. Good morning, everybody.
Morning. It's
So what are some traditions in weddings?
Well, I was
It
actually going to talk
depends
to you
on the
guys
time
about a
frame.
tradition. Yeah. So let me. I wanted to get your guys' reaction. Actually, thanks for bringing that up, Brent, because I want you to watch this real quick. So, guys, listen to this and tell me what you guys think.
Because interestingly enough, you're not the one that really gives this requirement meaning. It's your daughter. Because if she's going to marry him anyways, it doesn't really matter what you require. So the real test is not whether or not you can scare some guy into asking you. The real test is whether or not you've been such a good husband to her mother and father to her that she sees qualities in you that she wants emulated in the man that's going to ask her to marry her. And if that's the case, she'll be the one that wants your blessing. I think that's when you know you've done a good job.
Oh, that was
Dumbest
pretty
thing I've ever heard.
Really? Why do you think that? Explain that.
I don't know. How a father acts or stuff, something that I don't think that has anything to do with how she finds somebody.
Okay, so the tradition is to ask the father, right? This is the old tradition, to ask the father for his blessing to marry his daughter, right? But the problem is, you really don't in this day and age have to worry. You don't have to do that. Now, obviously, if you're a smart kid, you will. And I think all he was saying is look, if you have a really good relationship with your daughter, it's because you as a man have done a good job in terms of keeping that relationship in a good way and also treating their mom with respect. I personally don't have a problem with what he was saying, but I just thought it was interesting the way he said it. And at first, too, I kind of reacted like, what the hell, dude? And then I thought, oh, he's right. Because I'll give you the example of why. So my son is dating this gal, and it's looking like down the road that they're going to get married, right? It's not anything official yet. But one of the things I noticed is we had a little incident where I was invited to her parents' house for dinner, and usually when you get invited to your kid's love interest parents' house, it's because it's serious, right? And you're thinking, okay, this is going on, and you assume that the other side knows that too. So I'm sitting there at dinner, I put my foot in my mouth by making a comment, well, when these kids get married soon, and the mom was like going, and I'm like, uh-oh, and she was in the background, and Dad's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and I get along great with him, obviously, because I always get along great with most people. And he was kind of going, and I said, oh, you don't know about this? And he's like, oh, I assumed that it was going that direction. I thought, okay, yeah, obviously they think we're idiots, right? Because I was recovering at that point. He's like, exactly. And David's fiance was really mad at me. She's like, he doesn't know. And then I found out the backstory to it and everything in it. That was fine. But I think it comes down to that. Just knowing that your daughter trusts you and respects you enough that she would tell that guy, hey, you need to talk to my dad. I mean, that's kind of I think a clap on the back for you, Brent, and for you, Shawn, and for myself, if our daughters do that.
Shawn, is that not the most? Is that not the most Karl story in the world right there? Putting his foot in his mouth. If we had $1 for every time Karl put his foot in his mouth, we would be multi-millionaires. The lottery would mean nothing at all.
But what I was going to ask you guys is, because none of us have had the experience yet of our daughters bringing a guy to our door. Because I can think of some.
Oh, I have.
I can. Oh, you have? You've already had your daughter try to get married?
So, all right. So,
I mean, there's been a lot of
story.
boys come to my house, but not trying to get married.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
So a similar story that happened just recently, like kind of what you're talking about.
Okay.
Tracy and I it's late at night. We're watching a movie upstairs, and Maya sends Tracy a text, or it's a family group text that says, "Hey," and she's seen this guy Sam, really nice guy. I like this guy. He's a good guy, and she sends this text, "Hey, we're gonna be in town next weekend, and Sam's parents want to get together with you and Sam's parents." And like I look at Tracy, and I'm like, "What the?" Because I thought the same exact thing. Like, you don't meet someone else's parents unless it's about to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
right,
like Tracy texts Maya, and she's like, "Your dad's freaking out right now. What is going on?" She's like, no. They just happened to be in town. We just thought it'd be cool to get together and stuff. So, but it's that conversation that kind of makes me aware and alert that like this is going to happen relatively soon,
mm-hmm.
and I am the least prepared for something like that. But I think that is one tradition, is like the parents kind of get together. I think a tradition has been that the male goes to the daughter's father and asks for permission, or gives the word that like, "Hey, I want to ask your daughter's hand in marriage." I think those are typical traditions. But what other traditions are out there besides the Mormon line wedding and stuff?
Well, it's almost like a line dance. You're right.
But I think we're, as far as subject matter, we're not experts, because for the most part, like we talked about earlier, men don't really care about the whole thing. So
we're interviewing the blind in this subject, but I think we should have like Tracy on, or someone that actually knows a little bit about weddings. But I think tradition, when it applies to guys, though, I mean, I don't know. This actually can apply to anybody, but this whole thing with these choreographed asking people to get married routines that you see on Instagram and Facebook lately, what the hell is going on there? I mean, I one, I wouldn't want to be under that kind of pressure as a guy. Like, you're on camera right now, and you better do it perfect, or you're not. And the question is it real? Because if you have to take 15 takes to get it right.
So let me ask you this then, both of you guys. And let's start with you, Karl. How did you propose?
Wow, that's an evil laugh.
We were watching TV, laying down on a love sack, watching a TV show, and I rolled over.
Don't say it, Shawn. Don't say it, Shawn. I know what you're going to say. Don't say it.
I rolled over on one knee, and we were just, it was terrible. I should have done something a lot better than that. So, guys,
no wonder you got divorced. Yeah.
Again. Everybody. This is my friend Karl.
Okay.
But are you doing what she did? Was that what she's saying? Now wait.
No, hold on. She said yes. Okay, then, which was ridiculous. It was terrible what I did, but I made up for it. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but when Charlene and I were engaged, she was diagnosed with MS. So one morning she woke up, half her body was numb. And we had been ring shopping, but I hadn't got the ring yet. And one of the jokes that she and I had was, she's like, "I'd be happy with a Cracker Jack box ring." And I was like, she was really down when she found out she had the MS. Yes, it is. Shawn, shut up. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. All right.
No, women,
come on. Don't tell me it's not true. It's my own story that happened.
Wait. When women say, "I'd be happy with a Cracker Jack box ring."
Okay.
Don't.
Shawn.
All right.
All right.
May I finish? My only point to that was that if you're a younger man who's not married and has no experience with being married, if a girl ever tells you something like that, that is not true. Don't believe it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, I got what you're saying.
You're going to get in a lot of trouble if you listen to that.
And if you ask if you can do something and she says, do whatever you want to do.
Do whatever you want.
Oh.
Don't do whatever you want to do.
Well,
actually,
guys, this actually, if you give me a chance to tell the story, I will tell you the story. Okay.
Finish up.
So I found out she had MS. She was really depressed. And we were like a couple months from the wedding.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I was feeling really bad for her. So I went home, told my dad what happened, what I found out. And we had a good talk about, are you prepared for this? Because that's a pretty serious disease. And I said, yeah, I'm marrying Charlene. I'm not going to back out just because she has a disease. And he's like, I'm proud of you, son. All right. And then at that point, I'm like, what can I do to really make a statement that I'm in this 100%? So I went to see her. At the time, my credit score wasn't high enough. So I literally had to talk my way into them bypassing their normal credit process to get that ring. Damn it, I was getting that ring. I wasn't going to leave until I got that ring. So I did. I had to put a couple $100 down, but I could do that. And then I went to the candy store, got myself a Cracker Jack box, went home carefully, opened it up so it didn't rip it or anything, and then slipped the ring in, taped it back up, glued it out so it looked like it hadn't been opened or tampered with. And then I went to her house. And as soon as I walked in the door, she's laying on the bed, just on the couch, watching, I don't know what movie it was, but as soon as she saw the Cracker Jack box, she started to cry. And then I got on my knees and I said, hey, baby, I'm 100% here, thick or thin. I'm not leaving you. Here's your ring. And she started bawling, and it was good. So yes, I atone for
Karl,
rolling over and asking her to get married.
When people ask you the story of how you ask, don't give the first story, please. Give the second story.
Well, you wanted the
second
truth,
story is
didn't you?
great. No, I want that second story. That second story is great, man. That's the one you go with. That's the one you go with.
All right, Shawn, what happened with you? How did you do it?
So I drove her up into the mountains and we walked around a lake, and I proposed to her next to a lake up in the mountains. It was very romantic, actually. So
wow,
that's awesome.
I didn't have to have a redo.
Well, good for you, Shawn. You're so superior. Okay, Brett, what happened with you?
I'm sorry, Karl. I love you.
Okay.
That's okay.
So, I wanted what Shawn had. Okay? So, we went on a trip. We went on a trip to California, and we stopped in Reno, Nevada, and met her cousins there, and I kept everything down low from her, but I was letting her family know little by little by little by little. And so what I envisioned was going to the redwoods, and you know where that hole in the tree is that you always see the postcards of everybody driving through. So being there and doing it in the redwoods, okay? So we get to the redwoods, we go through the hole in the tree, and she's got to go to the bathroom. So there's a bathroom down there, and it gives me the perfect opportunity to find the perfect place, right? And so I look over, and there's this beautiful meadow. It's open sunlight coming down on the meadow, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the perfect place. This is it. And so she comes out of the bathroom, and I grab her hand, and I'm just like trudging her along because I'm nervous as can be. And as we're getting closer to this pond, the ground is getting mushy, and there's flies and gnats and everything going around, and I'm like, oh God, no, this ain't it. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, now I'm trying to improvise. So I'm like, come with me. We just go walking up this mountain. She's like, where are you taking me? And halfway up the mountain, I turn around and I open the ring up like this, and I'm like, will you marry me? And she started crying, and I took out one of them disposable cameras and went, click. So I have a picture of her close-up face with tears going down it.
Nice.
In theory, it was going to be a very romantic proposal. In reality, it was a joke.
That's all right. You
That's
did. I mean, I'm
hilarious.
sure she remembers it. She probably beats you up every
So
time.
hearing Shawn's story, that's exactly what I wanted. A beautiful leg.
Shawn's more cold and analytic than the two of us. We're just spontaneous pieces of crap when it comes to this kind of thing. We'll probably slip on a banana peel and screw it up.
Very true.
Anyway,
true.
That's
so
funny.
Shawn, okay,
that's funny that
tell
you call me cold and analytic, because that's kind of true. So anyway,
Shawn, tell me, Mr. Professor, Mr. History Professor, where did the whole 10-cow woman, 3-cow woman, dowry come from, and why don't we see that anymore?
so
that should still be a thing.
Yeah. Why don't I get my cows?
It depends on where in the world you are, actually. It still happens in some parts of the world. In some parts of the world, but it's more of a what we would call third world countries where they still do it, and it's a lot of it around farming communities that are people that are still in that kind of culture that haven't gotten into the industrial culture of modern society now. There's actually a difference between something called bride price and dowry. So bride price is what a lot of people associate with dowry, but bride price is basically what you're talking about with the 3-cow wife and all that, where the groom, in exchange for them losing her labor, because you have to remember that in these cultures, the father owns the daughter, right? And so the bride price is an actual payment for compensation of them losing her labor. So that's a different thing than a dowry. Dowry is where the bride is getting basically. So in a lot of cultures, like in say I'll use Victorian British, the girls didn't receive an inheritance from the parents, just the boys did. And so the dowry was there to make up for that. So it was, they basically got their inheritance when they got married instead of when the parents died. So it's kind of
so
interesting.
It's the groom's family that's responsible for the bride price and also the dowry, or
No,
did I get that mixed up?
No,
okay.
That's where the confusion is. But it's so the groom is not the groom's family. The groom is responsible for the bride price.
Oh.
So giving the parents of the bride money to compensate them for the loss of her labor value, right? And so and the dowry is the reverse. The bride's parents giving the dowry to, it's the couple, but it's her inheritance. Instead of her getting an inheritance when the parents die, she gets her inheritance at the time of her wedding. So and in the case of a divorce, the man actually is supposed to repay that dowry back to the family of the bride or the bride herself if her parents has died. So yeah.
That would make things a little more interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. So the oldest rules or laws in regards to that are do you guys know what the Code of Hammurabi is? I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I've heard of it. But,
so basically Babylon, the Babylonian
it's not
area,
a bologna sandwich, Brent.
It's not a bologna sandwich. So the Babylonian area in the Middle East are where we have the world's oldest records, and there are records, marriage contract laws in where dowries are talked about. So that's like 2000 BCE. It's very, very old. What's really interesting about that is that all these cultures around the world have similar practices, but they have really no direct connection with each other. And yet in India, dowry was a thing. It's no longer legal. It was outlawed in the 1960s sometime. But yeah, it's really interesting how that kind of a thing can permeate the world when the world at that time has no direct connection with each other. So,
Yeah.
really interesting.
And weren't a lot of the weddings like arranged back
all
then
were
too?
arranged.
It depends. Again, it depends on where in the world you were. But yeah, I mean, even in Europe, arranged weddings were happening until like the 18th century or something like that. But it was mostly upper class in the class systems or caste systems, depending on where you're at. So yeah, it really interesting.
So if you were poor, you didn't necessarily want to marry a 10-cal woman, did you?
Well, they actually, if you were a poor boy in some cultures, you didn't get married at all, ever.
Oh, wow.
So
can't reproduce.
Lost lamb.
Yeah.
Interesting fact, but when Tracy and I got married, my parents gave her parents a jackass as part of that payment. A jackass with bad gas is what it was. Now, he was intelligent and he was a smart ass, but yeah, that's kind of how things got around with my family.
Some of those old traditions we think are funny and ridiculous, maybe what kept families together. Because you look at our traditions, and there's not. I mean, yeah, I not happy with my marriage. I'm out. It doesn't matter if they cheated or not.
I mean, that goes into a lot of different complications as far as legalities of divorce, and there's in some cultures the divorce. Yeah, you've heard the term sue for divorce, right?
Right.
It was very, very difficult to obtain a divorce in some cultures. So it's nothing nowadays, but even in the United States,
it was so bad in England that the king. It was so bad in England that the king started his own religion.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, Henry VIII. I mean,
yeah,
interesting. So, but I mean, in Arizona, it's pretty easy to get a divorce. From what I'm told.
So, Brent, you brought up this whole marriage subject. Are you trying to angle toward the end to make a big announcement about one of your daughters?
No announcement.
Are you just
trying to be prepared?
A second wife?
No.
Are you going to be a polygamist?
I don't even like the one I have.
Do they do that in Tennessee? Do they have second wives?
No, they just marry their cousins.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I heard too.
That's Alabama.
You're right.
I wonder if,
Kentucky,
I wonder if like back in the day, if like the husband and wife were fighting, and the guy was always like, "God, I gave up 4 cows for this."
Well, there's an LDS video or movie that you can watch. I think it's called 10-Cow Woman or something like that, or 3-Cow Woman. What was it called, Shawn?
I don't remember, but it's not that. It's I don't remember.
I think it's by the Polynesian culture. They might be one of the ones that still do that. So
you can explain it.
Well, I'm not going to explain it. You can watch it if you want. I mean, it's not that exciting of a video.
But the point is, at all.
The point was, my point was just to ask whatever happened to the dowry, because that used to be a big deal. So
it basically it was outlawed in most modern societies. It's not legal anymore.
It's not a farm system. Like what would we outside of farms do? Like give a laptop?
Yeah. What labor are you going to lose when your daughter gets married? The fact that she's on Instagram and taking pictures 24/7.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, okay, see you.
Well, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
An interesting tradition today.
It's no longer considered ownership of your daughter. So, thank goodness.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Holy cow.
That's right. Yeah, the feminists are right about that. Yeah, which should be considered property at all. So, anyway. Well, and guys shouldn't be indentured servants for the rest of their lives either. I mean, with the price issue you're talking about, I mean, can you imagine having to earn the equivalent of 10 cows? And that could be a lot, actually, depending on where you live and what kind of culture you're in, and before you can even get married or be, like you were saying, Shawn, what if you're a real loser and you come from a very bad situation and there's never a chance you're going to have the 10 cows.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a caste system where you're born poor and you're basically, there's no chance. I mean,
you're screwed. Will you take 10 marbles?
10
I
marbles.
wonder if they, I wonder if they ranked women like that. Like, damn, she's an 8 cow girl for sure. It's like, hell no, she's no more than 3 cows. I wouldn't give more than 3 cows for that girl.
So
no,
actually,
man,
Brent, you say that, but you're kidding around. But there were areas in Mediterranean, where they had
a 3-dad cow system.
They had bride auctions. And so
Wow.
you would go to a bride auction, and the auctioneer actually would, in his opinion, he would start with the best looking one, and then the worst looking one would be the last one they would auction off, which was
terrible.
I would
How
think
degrading!
so
like this girl's getting like 27 cows for her, and then this girl here got like a baby lamb. You know?
Well, it's like picking a basketball team. Nobody wants to be picked last. I mean, but in this case,
how terrible, man!
Like,
you could have a game show. You could have a game show, the 7-cow wedding game. With 3 dad bods are the judges. So, what do you think, Brent? 7 or 6?
I got her for 1 pigeon.
Oh, that's terrible. All right.
That's probably a good place to end it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Brent, lead us out, baby.
And it's dead. The pigeon was dead.
Good ideas, guys. Good thoughts. Hopefully, and look, listeners, if you got some ideas, and I know a lot of you guys have gone through weddings and stuff, let us know. I mean, I'd love to hear some thoughts and ideas on what you did for your own kids' weddings out there. It'd be incredibly helpful for us 3 guys who are just about into that boat to be prepared for what's gonna happen. Great job, guys.
Oh no, I didn't say that. All right, you guys have a great week. We'll see you
Good talking
next
to you
week.
guys. Take care.
Thanks for listening to 3 Dad Bods, and make sure to catch their past episodes on Spotify, Apple, and Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure and leave a comment to help stroke their fragile egos.